Mourinho was born in 1963 to a large middle-class family in Setúbal, Portugal, the son of Felix Mourinho, and his wife, Maria Julia Carajola dos Santos. Mourinho had football in his blood from birth. His father played football professionally for Belenenses and Vitória de Setúbal, earning 1 cap for Portugal in the course of his career. His mother was a primary school teacher from an affluent background. Her uncle funded the construction of the Vitória de Setúbal football stadium. The Carnation Revolution, leading to the fall of Antonio de Oliveira Salazar's Estado Novo regime in April 1974, also led to the family losing all but a single property in nearby Palmela.
What were you like as a child, and what did you want from life?
You know, I was born son of a professional football player and son of a teacher. I love football since I was born, but at the same time I have somebody that controls my studies. And I was growing up in this, I don't say a dilemma, but in this, I give you if you give me. So you have your football, but you have to give me back some success at academic level.
Mourinho failed in the subject of mathematics during the final year of high school, and this prevented him of finishing high school at time to enroll at the physical education college as was his wish. But later on, after finishing in September, his mother enrolled him in a private business school because there weren't vacant places for him in the physical education college. In addition, his mother believed business school would bring him to a more successful career path. Mourinho, however, dropped out of business school on his first day, deciding he would rather focus on sport, and chose to attend the Instituto Superior de Educação Física to study physical education. Mourinho wanted to follow in his father's footsteps and joined the Belenenses youth team. Graduating to the senior level, he left the club in 1980 to sign for Rio Ave, where he played for the reserve team, and in 1981 was joined by his father, who was named first-team manager. In addition to playing, Mourinho was usually tasked with scouting other teams for his father. He was rarely selected by his father, but he made his debut for the club in the 3rd round of the Taça de Portugal, in a 2-1 extra-time win over Salgueiros. On the final day of the campaign against champions-elect Sporting CP, a defender was injured in the pre-match warm-up, so he was told to get changed. Club president José Maria Pinho, fearing the threat of nepotism, overruled the decision to do so. The incident saw the pair leave to join Belenenses in the summer. Mourinho mostly spent the season playing for the reserve team. When his father returned to Rio Ave, Mourinho did not go with him and continued to play in the lower levels of the Portuguese Football League system. He then finished his career at Comércio e Indústria, where he was captain of the team and would save the life of a teammate who had gotten trapped in a car that had caught on fire. Mourinho decided that he lacked the requisite pace and power to become a professional and chose to focus on becoming a football coach instead.
I was a high school teacher. I had my life. I had my quiet life, doing things that I love to do. I was a school teacher. I was working with the kids with Down syndrome, just in the building where when I arrived from the boat, just in front of the port, I was coaching Vitória Setúbal under 16s, under 18s, which was obviously total amateur, was not the kind of semi-professional academies or professional academies like we have now. I was just enjoying. The moment I went to professional football was when I had the click. Now is serious stuff.
Mourinho's first real chance to put his coaching ability to the test came as youth team coach at Vitória Setúbal. The experience gained through working with Vitória's young players led to the fledgling coach being given the opportunity to become assistant manager at Estrela da Amadora. Estrela was a small club based in the northwest of Lisbon that has since folded after losing their battle against financial difficulties in 2010. But they can at least boast about having played a role in the formative coaching years of one of football's biggest names.
when Bobby Robson stepped off the plane from London to become coach at Sporting Lisbon, the little guy who greeted him said, "Hello, I'm José Mourinho."
Is it possible? What?
He was initially employed as an interpreter. That's how he started working with players, really, and sort of got a grounding in the game.
He had an air of confidence about him. I think he was a bit nervous about meeting me. I mean, I detected that.
Is it true that you were Bobby's interpreter?
Well, the true is that I was his interpreter. I was his scouts. I saw players. I saw teams. I was goalkeeper coach because we didn't have at that time. I help in training sessions. I think I was everything. I gave him everything. Everything I had, I gave. So I think as a very nice person, he recognized my contribution to him.
I couldn't have handled it really without him in terms of speaking to the players, having a liaison with the players, having a liaison with the president. Never fell out with anybody, always respectful. Epitomized what I said to the players and how I felt about the game and the way the team played and what happened, what didn't happen. And he could transmit that very fluently and respectfully. He was super.
Mourinho began discussing tactics and coaching with Robson in his interpreting role. Robson was sacked by the club in December 1993. When Porto appointed him as their head coach, Mourinho moved with him, continuing to coach and interpret for players at the new club. The Porto team, consisting of players like Ljubinko Drulovic, Domingos, Rui Barros, Jorge Costa, and Vitor Bahia, went on to dominate Portuguese football the following years. With Robson as head coach and Mourinho as his assistant, Porto reached the 1993-94 UEFA Champions League semi-finals and won the 1993-94 Taça de Portugal, the Portuguese championship in 95 and 96. The 1994, 1995, and 1996 Portuguese Super Cup, the latter with a 5-0 victory over arch-rivals Benfica. In what proved to be Robson's last game at Porto before moving to Barcelona, earning Robson the nickname Bobby 5-0 in Portugal. After 2 years at Porto, the duo moved again, joining Barcelona in 1996. Mourinho and his family moved to the city of Barcelona, and he gradually became a prominent figure of the club's staff by translating at press conferences, planning practice sessions, and helping players through tactical advice and analyses of the opposition. Robson and Mourinho's styles complemented each other. The Englishman favored an attacking style, while Mourinho covered defensive options, and the Portuguese's love of planning and training combined with Robson's direct man management. The Barcelona attack was led by a prime Ronaldo. The partnership was fruitful, and Barcelona finished the season by winning the European Cup Winners' Cup, the Copa del Rey, and Supercopa de España. Robson and Mourinho joined the celebrations on the field. The Portuguese can be seen embracing Barca midfielder Pep Guardiola. The two had grown fond of one another through their mutual approach to football. The image of the two men, arm in arm, betrayed no signs of the bitter rivalry that they would experience 13 years later. Robson moved clubs the following season after winning the Spanish Super Cup. But this time, Mourinho did not follow, as Barcelona were keen to retain him as assistant manager.
Many years with Bobby. What did you learn most from him?
I learned a lot of things, but the first thing I get from a person is the human being he is, and I think it's difficult to find in football such a beautiful person like he is, and the way, of course, we are different, and I don't want to try to be copies of anybody, because copies are always worse than the original. But he was good in training. He was very enthusiastic. Sir Bobby loves the pitch. He loves the pitch. So as an assistant, you work in other areas to support that, but not so much that direct relation with the coaching session.
Because Bobby always liked to take sessions.
Very studious, asked questions all the time, saw the players train, saw how we trained, saw what we did in training, learned, listened, looked, remembered, did all of those things.
He brought me from a low level to the highest level you can imagine. So as Bobby assistant, I went from Sporting, Porto, and Barcelona. And when I left Barcelona, I was ready to start my career. Even in the moment we stopped to work together, even in that moment he was my friend, because he was leaving Barcelona. I want to leave because I go to Barcelona obviously by his hand, and he told me, no way, you are not going to lose the opportunity to stay in this club. You are not going to lose the opportunity to work now with Van Gaal, a different manager than I am. I didn't want at all, because of that feeling, I can't be here without you. And he told me, yes, you can. You are going to stay.
Before leaving Barcelona in 2000, he began working with Robson's successor, Louis van Gaal, and he learned much from the Dutchman's conscientious style. Both assistant and head coach combined their studious approach to the game, and Barcelona won La Liga twice in Van Gaal's first 2 years as coach. Van Gaal saw that his number 2 had the promise to be more than a skilled assistant. He let Mourinho develop his own independent coaching style and entrusted him with the coaching duties of Barcelona. Van Gaal also let Mourinho take charge of the first team for certain trophies, like the Copa Catalunya, which Mourinho won in 2000. Van Gaal was sacked in 2000, largely due to his failure to win a second European Cup. Mourinho also parted ways with Barcelona at this point, perhaps slightly aggrieved at club president José Luis Núñez's insistence on dismissively referring to him as the interpreter, a nickname that was picked up on by the Catalan press. Feeling his apprenticeship had been served, the Portuguese thought it was time he became the leading man. It was time to take the leap into management.